This is the Hippo Switches by Kinetic Labs and is manufactured by Gateron. This is a linear switch with an wipe stem. So how do they sound and feel? Let's find out. What is going on, guys? Ox here and welcome back to my channel. We are back with yet another Kinetic Lab switches, and today we have the Hippo switch. This is a linear switch that uses an wipe stem, and this is the first Gateron to use this material on their stem, which kind of makes it a unique in some way. It has a 63.5 gram bottom out force and using nylon for the top and bottom housing. By the way, the switches were sent for a review, but I wasn't paid to make the video, and Kinetic Labs didn't see the final script. So of course, I'll give you guys my honest and unbiased opinion on the Hippo switches. I'll also put all of their links on the description down below. So in today's video, it's going to be the usual, a stock versus lube comparison, and a Soundtest comparison versus the other linear switch, and of course a material breakdown of the switch. If you want to hear my own thoughts and opinion about the Hippo switches, please do stick around at the end of the Soundtest. And speaking of Soundtest, let me give you guys a quick disclaimer before we start. That the sound and experience may vary depending on your keyboard build, meaning to say that it might sound and feel different on your board. We'll of course be using the Vega 65 with a polycarbonate plate, a PCB to plate foam, and one case foam. The switches was lubed with a Krydox 205 grade 0 and 105 grade 0 for the springs. The keycaps that was used on the Soundtest is a Domi key set, and now with all of that out of the way, please do enjoy the Soundtest for the Hippo switches. So that was the sound test on the Hippo switches. Let me know what you think about them on the comment section down below. I would love to have some discussion with you guys. And before we talk about my own thoughts and opinion, you already know what's next. Let's break down the materials that was used on the switch. As you can see, this is a 5-pin switch and is using an MX style housing. So we have nylon for the top housing, nylon on the bottom housing, and of course we have wipe for the stems. Lastly, the springs with a 63.5 gram bottom out force. That was a material breakdown on the Hippo switches, and if you made it up to this point, I would like to say thank you for staying, and again reminding you that the sound and experience may vary depending on your keyboard build, so it might feel and sound different on your board. Now let's finally talk about my thoughts on the feel. On stock, it was actually decently smooth, and I think it's because of the wipe stem. There's a bit of a subtle small grain of scratch, but no leaf crunch, plus it didn't have that plastic raw feeling when typing, and I was fairly surprised by the stock or the out of the box feel, and maybe because I haven't really used Gateron switches in a while. I kinda expect it to be like a rough or sluggish, but it was actually decent on stock. But it's not to the point that I would recommend using them on stock. I would say that you can use them, but please lube them after some time. Once lubed, it felt a bit better and smoother, and I lubed mine slightly with the 205 grade 0 and just focusing on the rails and on the stem. It felt more consistent once lubed, but I could still notice a little bit of scratch, and lubing them does not altogether eliminate it. Now, the 63.5 gram bottom out force, it feels just about right for my preference. You don't bottom out fast, but you don't also bottom out slow. It's just in between, and it gives you that better give when typing. I always stress this out, but for me, 62 and 63 gram is the sweet spot. It's not that heavy, it's not that light. If you are used to something lighter, you might find it heavy at first, but give it a day or two, you get used to it. Moving on to my thoughts on the sound. At stock, it sounded pretty decent, but I can somehow hear the plastic raw friction, which kinda bothered me once I've noticed it. I would still recommend lubing them as it sounded a bit more subtle. For the sound profile, I'm not gonna lie, it sounded a bit muted for my own liking or preference. There's not enough clack to it, and the clack is so subtle at times I can say it has a deeper sound profile. I know some of you like muted linear instead of going for a silent switch, which is understandable. So the sound, it's fairly nice and decent for a Gateron switch. Overall, I can say that they nailed it in terms of the bottom out force. Again, I really like the feel of the switches, but one thing that I would like to note is I can feel that the housing is not that tight, so I might film these with deskeys in the future and maybe do a revisit sound test. But yeah, it feels great to type on. But again, for the sound, it's a bit too muted for my liking. It's not really the sound profile that I was looking for, and I would rather pick up the Husky switches over these. But again, it would still boil down to your preference, which is kinda nice because Kinetic Labs let you choose without being a recolor of one another. I mean, these and the Husky switches has a different sound profile and feel. I can say that this is a good pickup, or would be a good pickup if you haven't tried an wipe stem and if you haven't tried any Gateron switch, which I kinda doubt cause I think some of us already tried the Gat Yellows at some point in this hobby. That is it for the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed my review on the Hippo switch. I hope you find this helpful, and if you do, please don't forget to hit the like button as it really helps out my channel grow. Let's all try to aim 50 likes for the video. Again, shout out to Kinetic Labs for sending the switches over. I'll put their links on the description down below. What's next? Well, I do have a very special giveaway coming up next week, plus we have one more Kinetic Labs switch to review, so you better watch out for that as I'll post an announcement soon. Again, don't forget to hit the like button, share if you want, and of course subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys on the next sound test. Peace.